Mindy? Who's walking down the street? Little association song. Mindy.
Good evening. I'd like to call to order the February 1st, 2023 Concord Township Board of Trustee meeting. Would you all please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And can I have a roll call, please?
Yes. Mrs. Lucci?
Present.
Mr. Dondorfer?
Present.
Mr. McIntosh?
Present. So we have some. We're going to kick off the meeting with something a little bit different. We got some special guests here tonight. So we'll have a swearing in for one of our firefighters, and we will also have a presentation by one of our Lake County Commissioners. So I'd like to welcome all of our guests here, and we'll get things started with the swearing in of part-time firefighter paramedic Grant Egensberger. Did I say that correctly? I state your name, solemnly affirm
I, Grant Egensberger, solemnly affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
obey the laws of the United States,
obey the law of the United States,
the state of Ohio,
the state of Ohio,
and Concord Township,
and Concord Township,
and that I will in all respects
and that I will, in all respects,
observe the laws set forth by
observe the laws put forth by
the state of the Ohio Revised Code.
the Ohio Revised Code.
Will strive to complete the mission
Will strive to complete the mission
of the Concord Township Fire Department,
of the Concord Township Fire Department,
and will faithfully discharge the duties
and will faithfully discharge the duties
as a firefighter of the Concord Township Fire Department.
as a firefighter of the Concord Township Fire Department.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
But I appreciate it. All right, everybody say whiskey. Perfect, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, is it okay to dismiss the family?
Yes, it is.
You guys are welcome to dismiss if you'd like, or you can stay for the meeting.
It's real exciting.
That was quick.
I don't know, how are you? We heard about how your meetings go. Thanks for coming. Have a good evening, thank you.
Thank you.
Tim, nice seeing you.
All right, same here, Mike. Thanks for coming.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Where are you going, Mr. Bedell? Oh, okay.
Okay, moving along. I would like to welcome the newest Lake County Commissioner and former Mayor of Willock, Mr. Rich Regovich. So if you'd like to come forward, and thanks for being here. It's good to see our newest elected official out here in the township.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you so much. And it's my distinct honor and pleasure to honor Amy Lucci and Carl Dondorfer tonight on behalf of the Board of County Commissioners. This is for completing the Ohio Township Association Leadership Academy. So I stole these and took them for myself because two of my favorite trustees.
Thank you.
And one of my favorite townships here in Ohio, in Lake County. So I'd like to present these to both of you. Appreciate it.
Congratulations. I think Morgan had
I'll slide out of the
sent over here a bunch of cuts.
Sure.
Thank you.
Our taxes on the agenda tonight? Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
Oh, yes, you could.
It's all in good fun. All right, next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from January 18th, 2023 regular trustee meeting.
Mr. Chair, I will make a motion to approve the January 18th, 2023 regular trustees meeting minutes.
And I will second that. Any discussion?
No.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll abstain.
And 2 ayes and 1 abstention. Okay, moving into the elected officials report, fiscal officer James Tekin.
Thank you, Mr. McIntosh. My report is short this evening. The January 23rd financial report is being prepared and will be delivered to the trustees at the next trustees meeting. I am completing the 2022 financial footnotes, which will be included in the 2022 annual financial report. This is the final step in preparing the 2022 annual financial report. Upon completion of the footnotes, I will close the 2022 financial year in our software or an accounting package UAN. And once that is done, we can upload the 2022 financial report to the Auditor of State's office. And finally, I would also like to schedule the annual appropriations meeting during the week of February 20th. It's kind of a housekeeping item annually. And this concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Tekin. Trustee, do we want to
Do you want to
dig into that now, or do we want to? Hold on. Shouldn't have a problem.
I will,
So what is that? Just
The week
we're
of
just looking at our next. Oh, you said the week of. I'm sorry.
Week of the 20th?
20th.
I'm out the 19th through the 22nd out of town. But
23rd?
I'm in on the 23rd or the 24th.
23rd?
Are we?
4
Are
o'clock?
we? What? I got a 7. That evening is sticky for me.
Okay,
Why don't we
27th.
roundtable this on the,
Why don't we?
After the
Why don't we
meeting.
do this? Yeah, we can do this afterwards. Let's
Yeah.
not consume
We have
meeting
a
time.
staff meeting on the 27th. We could maybe do it right after.
Okay. Yeah, we could look at moving the staff meeting on the 27th. I'm doing it then. Okay. Moving things along, then we'll get into the trustees' report, starting with Mrs. Lucci.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Today is Ohio Township Day. It is the 25th anniversary, first celebrated in 1998. The day was set aside to recognize the commitment from the officers, the staff who promote the grassroots government. Townships were the first form of government in the state, and there are over 1,300 townships, 1,308 to be exact, serving about 35% of the population of Ohio. So happy Ohio Township Day to everybody. We had the opportunity to get together last week with the Ohio Township Association, our elected officials and staff from across the state for some education and some just great fellowship and getting together. As far as resident communications, I did connect with a resident who had some suggestions about some zoning restrictions. I spoke with a resident regarding some traffic along Girdled, and I thank Sergeant Enfalvi for responding quickly. He made sure that there was additional presence out in that area to check on traffic. Do want to stress the importance of safety and making sure our residents feel supported by law enforcement. I did speak with another resident today regarding some water issues and some nuisance complaints. We did have some residents reach out regarding the recent sales tax with the county. And I did want to thank Mr. Maxon for continuing to volunteer as our curator. He did report to me that the schoolhouse had 365 visitors this year, which was the most we've ever had. Yep, which is a record. And I do want to thank him for his service. We did have a staff meeting on Monday, and I look forward to all the summer events that we are hearing, that we're going to hear about from REC. And with that, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mrs. Lucci. Mr. Dorndorfer.
Thank you, Mr. McIntosh. Yeah, we had a great conference at the Ohio Township Association this year. Not only the trustees, but our administrator, fiscal officer, zoning representation, and our service director were down there. A lot of great classes. And Amy and I worked the last year through the Ohio Township Association Leadership Academy, which is a year process, completing several classes to make sure we do our due diligence as far as trustee work for the townships. And I think it's a testament for all of us regarding that attendance and completion of those courses that everybody took, that, we work hard for our residents and for the township. So it was very beneficial. A couple calls I received from some residents since the last meeting. Had an issue with a road issue on Williams and Cascade that had a resident concern. So we're working through that with our township service department as well as the county. And we had another call regarding some recent correspondence regarding the new program that the Lake County General Health District is rolling out as far as septic system annual inspections. So trying to get some clarification from some residents that have septic systems that never had to participate in this program. So we're trying to do our due diligence to get them the information so we can report back to them. And Ohio Township day to day, as Trustee Lucci said, we got 1,308 townships in Ohio, and the townships make up 35% of the state population. So it's pretty good representation of townships in the state. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ondorfer. Obviously, yes, Township day is great. The more I spend time here in this township doing work with this form of government, the more I really do tend to appreciate it. I'm sure everybody thinks their form is great. We like it. It's hard work though. I mean, we are a lean government. It is. We have to do a lot with a little, but it is definitely efficient. I like working with both of you, and I like this form of government. OTA Winter Conference is always a good and enjoyable time, and I would say of all the years I've gone, I really feel like I got the most out of it. And I don't know if it's just because I'm kind of getting dialed in on being a trustee, and I'm really able to get the most out of it. It's great that we had staff come down with us and also take advantage of the material and information there. It's always good to get out of your bubble, hear from other townships, get refreshed education to come, and then bring back, because you bring back ideas and things that you wouldn't ordinarily catch up with. So it was great time down there, really well spent, and congratulations to you both for completing the leadership. I know, get your certificate warmed up. Amy's working on 2.0, so she's gonna do a project because the OTA last year. You're part of the inaugural class on that leadership 2.0. It's another tier of leadership training at the OTA is offering. So it's really great organization. Those folks put on a good show. They are great for us year round. I also fielded some of the requests about zoning and some of the water complaints. Had plenty of calls and emails about the sales tax increase. Had the opportunity to participate in a fire station project meeting with our owner's rep, the architect, and the construction team today to sort of iron things out. Obviously, I'm sure it's no surprise to many people to understand that we're looking at an extended date. There's been plenty of delays and so forth. So we're hashing out the timeline about when it's done. It's more than likely going to be into the summer months before we'll see that completed. And that's just really based on delivery delays of a lot of things that we need to be operational, and things that are out of our control, out of the contractor's control. Have had some ongoing meetings with the LCTA. I was up at the county today meeting with one of our commissioners, one of the other commissioners, to talk about the funding requests that Concord put forth as far as spending ARPA dollars and some infrastructure projects we're going to see get going here. It's going to take some time, but we'll be deploying that in the coming year or so. I don't know if the county engineer put out a policy today. I know that the townships are trying to work with that as far as mailboxes. So I think it's important to know, as effective as of the 1st of February, that the community ought to know that the county engineer's office specifically has said they will not be repairing damage. So we certainly do expect to be fielding calls and working together. The Lake County Township Association is looking to come up with a uniform policy as in response to that. So we haven't got that yet, but stay tuned on that. We understand that's going to be an issue for our residents, and we're trying to work through a resolution on that. So with that, I will conclude my report, and we'll move on into department reports, beginning with Administrator Andy Rose.
Thank you, Mr. McIntosh, members of the board, Mr. Technip, members of the audience, good evening. Happy Township Day. I will start with some items that are on the agenda. Item B is a vote to renew the memorandum of understanding between us and Lake Metro Parks. This has been a long-standing memorandum of understanding regarding the access point to the Greenway corridor through the Old Stone School parking lot next to the community garden. It just outlines that we'll take care of the parking lot like we always have, and then they're responsible to take care of the path from the edge of the parking lot to the Greenway corridor. But because it's on our property, we have a memorandum of understanding in place. That MOU has been in place since the Greenway corridor was established, and we refresh it every 5 years. We have a wonderful relationship with Lake Metro Parks, so I would encourage passage of that vote. Item C is a purchase order. That's to retain a firm to conduct the commissioning services for Fire Station 1. It's always good to have a third party come in to test all of the various systems when you're commissioning the station, and that's what this does for Fire Station 1. Item D is a purchase order to Classic Ford. That's for vehicle repairs. Earlier today, we acquired a 2017 vehicle, a police SUV from the city of Mentor. It needs a transmission, but after consulting with our service director, that's actually an easy fix, and when we've reviewed the vehicle and it's in great shape. It's a transmission swap out, and it'll be under warranty. A comparable vehicle in the used market's running about $18,000, and we're going to get this for the cost of a transmission and maybe a couple of ticky-tack parts. We're going to use this for recreation, so they don't have to keep using their personal vehicles to come over here and handle all of the events. So this is a very good investment, so I encourage passage of that. On to some other items. Yesterday, I was able to visit one of our local manufacturers. We have a small group. It's a member from Team NEO, along with a member of Lake County's Lake Development Authority, and we go out and kind of do a how goes it with our manufacturers. And yesterday was one of those days, and we had good productive dialogue, and we talked about, you know, partnering with some of our local schools to see if that could work out. We talked about some employment challenges, which is a common theme when we go visit these manufacturers. Is, you know, we're short a number of people, and we try everything. Jobs Ohio, Team NEO's got incentives, but it's tough to get the employees, and so we keep striving for that. But the business is doing very well, and they're very happy in Concord Township, and they're thrilled with the economic development and the work that we're doing, and they're excited about some of the new projects that'll be coming into the township here soon. So all in all, it was a very good visit. Mr. Dondorfer touched on it, but I am working with the health district to untwist this septic system issue. There are two issues. One is the fee associated with the annual inspection that seems to be new. And then there's one particular resident that's having some difficulty with a neighboring resident regarding a septic system. And so we're working through that as well. Friday at noon, we will be opening the landscape contract bids. So I'm hoping for a favorable result from the landscaping bids, and I anticipate that will be on the agenda at our next meeting on the 15th. And finally, just something that I'm going to start digging into, but based on the passage of Senate Bill 33 during the last legislative session that was signed by the governor on January 2nd, that particular bill allows home rule townships to establish their own CRA. And it, no offense, Commissioner, but it cuts the county out of the loop, and it cuts the State Department of Development out of the loop, and it lets us, chart our own course. So I'm going to start crafting some language, and I'll be talking to the trustees at office hours and so forth about what we want to see that look like, and then I'll probably work with our distinguished legal counsel in order to make sure that the language is crafted appropriately in accordance with the intent of the bill. That's not something that's going to happen in the next 10 minutes, but it's something that I think we need to work towards and establish our own CRA as a limited home rule township. So that's one of the things I've got coming up. So that concludes my report. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Rose. I'd like to add too that, we did have a committee meeting yesterday with the JED, and we talked at length about that.
Yep.
And I think just to add a little bit of color, I think generally, with the amount of growth and economic development we're doing here in Concord, it's a welcome tool from the legislature that we can be more efficient, and we'll take advantage of that. It'll definitely help our marketing our community. Thank you, Mr. Rose. Moving on, Fire Department Chief Sabo.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Chief. So the firefighters responded to a total of 224 incidents in the month of January. We had 148 EMS events with 126 transports to local hospitals. We had 76 non-EMS events, including 3 fires, all within Concord, 1 vehicle fire, 1 stove fire, and 1 structure fire. We gave mutual aid 16 times, received mutual aid 12 times, and had 51 overlapping calls for about almost 23% of our calls were all overlapping, so more than one event happening at once. Fire Prevention Bureau was busy with 40 inspections, accounting for about 60 hours. They did 7 plan reviews for about 12 hours and completed 10 hours of continuing education. They also were out in the schools. They presented a program on fire service and offered a tour of the fire trucks to 36 children and 20 adults at Hope Bridge for their Cub Scout program. So it was pretty neat to see. And today we had the opportunity to welcome home a 5-year-old Concord resident. He was discharged home from the hospital after a lengthy stay there, and we wish him well on his recovery. So outside of that, item F on the agenda this evening is a request to increase our EMS billing rates. That we've not seen an increase. We've not asked for an increase in a number of years. But this also gives a good opportunity to educate the community on our billing processes. If you don't mind taking a couple minutes just to go over that for the community. Yes, we do bill for EMS services. So what does that mean? We only bill for EMS services when we transport a patient to the hospital. So it doesn't cost any more for us to show up and do an evaluation. The bill only kicks in when there's an actual transport. And we do what's called soft billing. Just like many of the fire departments around here, they all do soft billing. And what that means is we bill your insurance company, we accept what your insurance company pays, and it's done. We do not balance bill our residents. But that has also led to some questions. Our EMS billing vendor, that the company that takes care of all this for us, they are out of North Carolina. So once in a while, one of our residents will get a letter from North Carolina representing us. It is legitimate, but I always encourage people, if you don't know, ask. Give us a call. We'll be happy to explain what it is. If you are transported by Concord Township and you are a Concord Township resident, it should not be a bill. It should not be asking for balance of fees. But sometimes, most of the time, we try to get a signature from the patient authorizing us to bill their insurance. Sometimes that's just not feasible. And so we have to our billing company has to send a letter to the resident asking for that signature authorizing us to bill their insurance. Non-residents, billing takes place quite the same way. We bill their insurance, we accept what their insurance pays, but the only difference is we do ask the non-resident to pay the balance that's not covered by insurance. So that also leads to questions: what hospitals do we transport to? So typically we transport to UH Geauga, UH Tri-Point, UH Lake West. I'm still trying to get used to saying it that way, but Cleveland Clinic Hillcrest, and very soon Cleveland Clinic Mentor. So we're not always able to meet those requests. A lot of it comes down to medical necessity. Some of those hospitals cannot accept the patients the way they're presenting. But our firefighters, our paramedics are very well versed at which hospitals can accept. And we're always staying updated on which hospitals are busy. Right now, there's some hospitals that if we transport a patient to, sometimes the EMS crew is waiting up to 2 hours just to transfer that patient to the emergency room. So that becomes very difficult for us to continue to provide service in our township. So when we get word of that, we have to make some changes in our transport policy. We will not transport downtown to Cleveland Clinic or main campus unless it's medically necessary. And that's a very limited number of opportunities for us to actually consider transporting downtown. But we will in those circumstances when it's the right thing to do for that patient. More specifically on the agenda, it talks about 3 different billing rates. So you have the basic life support rate, the advanced life support level 1, which is just hooking somebody up to a monitor and keeping an eye on them. And then there's an advanced life support level 2, which is more for critical patients, cardiac arrests, strokes, and it's based on number of interventions. That's what triggers level 2. And then we also bill per mile. So the mileage from the time we pick the patient up to the time we get them to the hospital, whatever that mileage is, that's what we use to record to the billing company. Do you have any questions about that?
I know we talked about this the other day in staff meeting, but just want to get again, you presented these numbers, we're not in line with most of the communities, and this adjustment would put us more in. We wouldn't be the highest, we're not the lowest, we're kind of in that middle part, and this is just keeping up pace with the cost of things and where we are in our community. Correct. Yeah. So it's not putting us over the top, but it does bring us out of a hole and keep us from falling behind. Fuel is increasingly getting more expensive for everybody, and we're no different. So we need to make some adjustments in terms of the mileage rates, and like you said, yeah, just staying in line with the rest of the area fire departments and EMS agencies. We looked at Lake County, Geauga County, and Ashtabula County as far as a rate comparison, and this puts us really close to average. Okay.
And Chief, our current charges have been in place for how long?
At least since 2016, when I became chief and we switched EMS billing companies. I don't recall what the rates were before I became chief, but I think there was a slight increase in that. But I just don't remember. But at least 2016. Okay. We have not made an adjustment since then.
Thank you.
You bet. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chief. Thanks, Chief. Service Department, Mr. Brown.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
The Service Department in the month of January responded to 12 call-outs for snow and ice conditions and applied approximately 650 tons of salt to the roadways. Our crews continue to perform road evaluations for the upcoming construction season. Pothole patching, mailbox repairs, and snow barricade installs, along with drainage area checks throughout the township, are some of the other duties performed in the Service Department. Our equipment maintenance crew has been busy maintaining the plow fleet with some minor repairs and preventative maintenance. Crews also responded to flooding complaints during the heavy rain events, and the majority of the issues were due to the volume of rain that fell in a short period. The storm systems were taking everything that they could handle, therefore caused a little bit of flooding throughout the township. Working alongside the Lake County Stormwater Department, the Service Department made several site visits to inspect areas for maintenance and improvements to drainage within the township. And as always, residents with questions or concerns are encouraged to contact the Service Department at 440-350-3225 or by email at concordtwp.com under Service Department. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Thank you. Zoning Department, Heather Freeman.
evening. Happy Ohio Township Day. During the month of January, the zoning department staff processed 13 zoning permit applications and collected $1,750 in fees. Additionally, we issued 25 zoning certificate of compliances. And zoning staff also received and followed up on 4 new complaints about potential zoning violations. As far as the zoning board activity, during the month of January, the zoning commission conditionally approved an amended site plan for that ice cream parlor and car wash that's going to be going on Cryle Road. And also the BZA approved 1 variance application for a resident that lives over on Aria's Way for the location of an accessory building that they wanted to put on their property. Last week, I attended the Ohio Township Winter Conference in Columbus. Attended a few great sessions. They had some very specific zoning topics tailored directly towards townships. And I look forward to being able to bring back some of those ideas and some of those new things that I heard from other townships in Ohio. And I just want to thank the trustees for always supporting staff and allowing us to attend and focus on our continuing education. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks, Heather.
Recreation. Sean.
Hey, Sean.
Hello,
Welcome.
good evening, everyone.
Welcome. Good evening.
Just want to go over a few events that we have coming up here or currently ongoing. Our annual Concord Township Photo Contest is currently ongoing. Entries are being accepted until February 28th. Participants can enter 2 photos per category, and those categories include nature, places, people, black and white photos, and unique Concord sites. The online voting is going to be taking place from March 6th to the 24th, and the winners will be announced on the 27th. If anybody has issues entering or submitting their photos online at concordtwp.com, the recreation department and staff can help you out with that. Just call 440-639-4650 and we can help you out submitting those photos. The American Red Cross blood drive is coming up on Friday, February 24th from 10 to 3, and that is held at the community center. We have a lot of great classes currently ongoing: yoga classes, Pilates, martial arts. We're doing some cooking classes right now called Let's Cook, which have been very well attended so far. February is Heart Healthy Month, Black History Month, and the Super Bowl, and we are doing some senior socials to celebrate all those events. February 1st, which was today, was Dr. Paul Zellers from UH did a lecture on having a healthy heart, which was very well attended. February 8th, Dennis Sutcliffe is a popular speaker who's going to be talking about Jane Russell and Cleveland's Forgotten Champions right before the Super Bowl. February 15th is Susan Canavino. She's with Pizzazz Entertainment, and she's doing The Extraordinary Life of Dr. Martin Luther King. And then the last event is February 22nd. That's our monthly bingo with a heart theme. The community gardens are currently completely full, which is great. We were able to get in 6 new Concord residents for this year, and everyone is very excited and ready for the spring weather, as I'm sure everyone here is looking forward to that as well. And just to follow up on Mrs. Lucci's report here on the Stone School, Dan gave me a little report as well. As she indicated, there was 365 visitors there this year, 2022. They had 13 total events on site. There was 8 total bus tours through there, and that 365 was their highest that they've had since they've been keeping records, so that's good for them. So, yeah, Dan is a great guy, as you guys all know, and very knowledgeable, and he does a great job over there, so looking forward to really working with him a little bit more and developing some programming there as well. And then lastly, everyone should have received their e-grapevine. Really trying to encourage everyone to sign up for that, as we're going to be working on a lot of new programming, and that's going to be the quickest way for our residents to get notified on all that. Obviously, the next grapevine won't come out till, I believe, May. Mm-hmm. And also to follow the rec department on all their social medias as well. Because, like I said, we are hard at work at developing all these new programming that are going to be coming out starting in the spring and stuff in the summer as well. So again, just follow us on social medias. We can help you out getting signed up for all those. Again, calling the rec department 639 4650. And that concludes my report.
Thanks, Sean.
Nice work.
I know Sean's had a lot of work. It's just started with us this year, and so it's great to have him. I know, and I think, as you've said, and he did. Dan Maxon does a fantastic job there in this. We're lucky to have him. He really is knowledgeable, and noticed that a lot last year in the 22. His knowledge of township history is quite deep. So. And with that, we'll move on to Sheriff Concord Law Enforcement, and tonight we have Captain Patterson here to give the report. So I guess you'll let Sergeant Falvey have a vacation, or
yeah, he had the nerve to take a vacation on us.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Good evening, all. For the month of January, your sheriff's office handled a total of 1,072 calls for service. As far as accidents, I'll go through a few of these here. Accidents handled, we handled 2 injury accidents. We handled a total of 13 property damage related accidents. We had 2 arrests that involved out of county residents. We had an arrest of an adult female from Euclid. She was arrested for disorderly conduct over at the Comfort Inn on January 10th. On January 19th, we had an arrest of an adult male from Cleveland. This was a result of a traffic stop. At first, the male didn't pull over, and further north on Chestnut from State Route 84, our deputies did make a traffic stop, and the male had possessed a fully loaded firearm along with marijuana. That is a violation of the constitutional carry law for having those items together. So he was charged on multiple felony charges and arrested for that. We had about 4 warrant arrests in Concord. We had 23 citations and 135 written warnings. We were able to get pretty proactive with our traffic enforcement this month, which was good to see. We also concentrated on some areas of some complaints on traffic, which were Girdled Road, Martin Drive, and I believe there was another one here. We were centered on Hunting Lake, the new portion of Hunting Lake Drive. So we'll continue to do that, continue those efforts into February. Thinking the speed trailer is something we could maybe touch and go depending upon the weather, right. And we want the right locations for those off the roadway, but that's something we could probably begin to plan for. We had disabled vehicle assist. We had 30. In addition to that, we covered 11 lockouts for assist to the public. Responded to 5 disturbances. We had 2 DOAs, 4 domestic violence cases, drug investigations and or complaints. We had 3 Auburn Road, Alexander, and Clio. 10 harassment threats type natured reports. We responded to 2 neighbor complaints on Majesty Lane. We had a stolen skid steer from Concord Motorsports. 12 additional thefts beyond that. 22 traffic complaints were fielded. We had 3 weapons complaints, 1 on I-90, 1 on Auburn Road, 1 on Melridge, and we responded to 17 welfare checks. I'd like to make a couple points that might be helpful for the community. We, on our phone app, for the Sheriff's Office phone app, we actually added some new links. One's for missing pets, and another one is to gain access to your accident reports through the state. So those may be pretty helpful. And I also like to point out, I believe it was last week the sheriff put out a press release regarding defensive driving. And I would encourage all to take a look at that. It was posted on the website and on Facebook. Offers a lot of good tips. And obviously, it's the time of year too where we want to make sure we can offer the best safety suggestions as possible. We had a slight climb in accidents this past month. Seen more in other townships, but again, just so we can kind of keep everybody driving cautiously. And that's about all. Concludes the report.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I think it's ironic that he mentioned the app when we
Yeah,
were
we
talking
just
about
talked
it right
about
as
it
the meeting
before the
started.
meeting, right.
I love it. It's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Great.
And at the very least, if you have it and turn your notifications on, you can find out when the roads are closed.
Right.
So
Right.
it's, yeah, I highly recommend that you get it if you haven't. Moving on, audience portion. Anything from the audience? Commissioner Rogovich.
So I wasn't going to speak to make the meeting longer, but I thought I'd hear the law director or the law department give a report. It would take me back in time and tell you. But just to touch on what Andy was saying, I actually made some phone calls today for workforce development. We realize that all these companies need workers, so I have something I like to start going county-wide and literally produce workers out of our high schools. Those kids that aren't going to college or maybe don't know the path yet, we want to get to them early. So I'm reaching out to the school systems, I'm reaching out to businesses, I'm reaching out to Lakeland Community College, Auburn Career Center to get these things moving and get these kids, even in school, a taste of maybe what they want to do or don't want to do, but give them the expectation that, boy, we want you to go to work when you graduate high school if you're not going to go to college or if you don't have a plan, and we can get you a good wage and as long as you're willing to work hard. So I'm probably going to be reaching out to the county administrator here and get their feedback, start getting into some of these businesses and see how they can do it. We've seen it happening on smaller basis. Businesses got together at AWT, things like that. I just want to coordinate that effort and make it countywide so that we can use it throughout the county. So
Great.
That's something I'm starting to push forward now that I don't have to deal with the other issue I already dealt with.
Thank you very much.
All right, yeah, thank you.
Commissioner. Great news.
Good information.
Yeah, great information. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. I think that concludes audience. Moving on to old business, of which there is none, which will give us to our new business. And as mentioned earlier by our fiscal officer, we will be tabling the January financial reports to the February 15th meeting. So that will move us on to item B for the MOU between us and Lake Metro Parks.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the MOU between the Lake Metro Parks District and Concord Township.
I will second.
All right, is there any discussion? No. Okay, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes with 3 ayes. Next.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the PO to Integrated Engineering Consultants Incorporated for Fire Station Number 1 commissioning services in the amount of $9,400.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
No, I think, Administrator Rose hit on it. I mean, it's important that I think that we have a third party, to come in and test all the systems, a large investment in Station 1, so I think it's needed.
It's nice to be talking about commissioning the fire station.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Do I have a second?
No.
Oh, you second, I'm sorry. Or
I'll second.
second, okay. Or we did that already.
Yeah, I think so.
Sorry, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? None?
None.
Okay.
All right, I move to approve the purchase order to Classic Ford for the vehicle repairs in the amount of $5,625.34.
Second.
I'll second.
Discussion?
I think it's a good investment. I mean, it's a
deal.
Completely resourceful.
Retired police interceptor Ford
Yeah.
from Mentor, and Tim's, got a great relationship with the city of Mentor, and it works out for us. It's important. I think that Rec has a vehicle to go back and forth with, especially the community days and all the different events and programming. It makes sense.
Too bad the lights couldn't stay on it. You can just, zoom your way around.
Yeah, I don't want to see any little cherry top.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll have the problem.
Yeah.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No. Item E.
Okay, we are, I will make a motion to approve fire department PO to Countryside Truck Service in the amount of $45,000.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Noted. Aye. I move to approve fire department rates for EMS billing as follows: $800 for basic life support, $950 for advanced life support level 1, $1,100 for advanced life support level 2, and $17 per mile.
Second.
I'll second.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I apologize. Can we amend that to be effective February 1st of 2023? That way it goes into effect right away, please. Thank you.
Okay, move to, can I have a motion to accept that amendment from Administrator
I'll make a
Rhodes?
motion to accept the amendment to February 21st.
February 1st.
Oh, 1st.
February 1st.
Great, okay.
I second that.
Okay, and do we have any discussion?
I think it's, you know, it brings us within the median of other communities. There hasn't been any increases since
7 years.
2016. And I mean, like the chief said, we do soft billing and, you know, the balance statements coming. I think it's important to keep
Yeah.
current.
I think it's important to keep current.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, item G was voted on in the staff meeting on January 30th, 2023, and that was an approved policy change to the employee handbook, section 3, under compensation, 3.10.1, full-time hourly employees allow sick time to calculate as hours worked effective 2/1/23. Mrs. Lucci moved to approve the policy change. Mr. Dondorfer seconded, and then it passed with 3 ayes. And future meetings and announcements.
On February 7th at 7 PM, there will be a zoning commission meeting at Town Hall. On February 8th at 7 PM, the BZA meeting will hold a meeting at Town Hall. And on February 15th at 6:30 PM at Town Hall Conference Room, there will be a trustee office hours. And at 7:30 PM following the trustees office hours, there will be a trustees meeting at Town Hall. Again, that'll be at 7:30 on February 15th.
Okay. All right, thank you. And with that, we will conclude our February 1st meeting.
Good evening.
Thank you.